Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome to our best chess games of all time series. So in this series we're following the best of the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history, and today I wanted to show a really brilliant game that was played in 1844 between Alexander Hoffman against Alexander Petrov, and this game has been written many times in chess history books as the Petrov's Immortal because it was really an immortal game in which Petrov created really wild tactics all over the board with great strategical and tactical and with some wild tactics, with some wild sacrifices, so be prepared. This is really something worth to see. So Alexander Petrov, of course, a very important person when it comes to chess history. He was the creator of the Petrov's defense. The Petrov defense is still a good opening. Even now these days it's playable in top grandmaster level. Top grandmasters like Magnus Carlsen, Fabiano Caruana are still playing the Petrov defense as a response against e4. So if you have trouble maybe to study something against e4, the Petrov defense I think is perfectly fine. So let's check out now this sick, brutal, brilliant game played by Petrov. Here Alexander Hoffman opened with the move e4. Petrov's response was e5, knight to f3. Here knight to c6 was played by Petrov. Knight to f6 would be then of course the Petrov defense. Here bishop to c4. We have bishop to c5, which is now the so-called Giuoco Piano. The Italian game is on the board. After move bishop to c5, we have now the classical variation with the move c3, with preparations of course to play central pawn breakthrough with the move d4. Here knight to f6, which is of course the best way because most of the times white's response is now the move d3, protecting the e4 pawn, which would be really the classical system. Now after move knight to f6, here Alexander Hoffman played now the most aggressive line, which is now the so-called center attack with the move d4. Here after e takes d4, we have now e5. Now against the center attack there are basically two choices. You can play the move knight to e4, or you can play here the move d5. d5 would be actually the best way. So if you're getting this position, d5 is the best response, because the problem of white here is that e takes f6 wouldn't be a good idea. It seems in the beginning that it's a sharp line, but that's actually not good here for white, because here after d takes c4, okay, you have your fun, you get an extra tempo, but now after rook to g8, here I think black is much better. In the continuation of the game we can also advance the pawn. Even if you take here, there is a good connection here with these three pieces. You have a good protection around the square d4, and then afterwards you have to play something like bishop to e6, I don't know, queen to d7 and queenside castling, and with the bishop pair on the board black would be much better. So that's why after move e5, as said, d5 would be the best response. But here Petrov spiced up a little bit the position. He played now the much sharper line with the move knight to e4. The problem about this move knight to e4 is actually that the knight is locked here in the center of the board, so if this knight gets challenged you don't have any more escape square for the knight. So that's why bishop to d5, and here Petrov played now the sharpest line with the move knight takes f2. You have to react, of course, king to f2, but it comes of course with this discovered attack d takes c3. And again, there are two lines. Maybe here Hoffman played not the best of lines. He should have played probably king to f1, because after king to f1, okay, you have a little bit lost the connection between the queen and the rook, but this would be probably better, because after this line c takes b2, bishop to b2, king to and d6, okay, we're opening up also the light square diagonal for the light square bishop. Maybe white would take. There is at least one game in this particular line, but now after castling I think white has solved now all of the positional problems, because it's not so easy I think here for black to include now all of the pieces into the attack, although the pieces are dancing a little bit around white's king, but still with knight to c3, with the piece activity that white can also gain, I think white can solve all of the positional problems. But here after move d takes c3, in the continuation of the game Hoffman played not the best of moves, but still the engine says that white is much better here, because after king to g3 we have now a king hunt element. White is of course challenged, the king is in danger through the whole game, and whenever we play a king hunt, the most important idea of the king hunt is to decoy our opponent's king more towards the center, more to our side of the board. So that's why mission accomplished I think here by Petrov. He got the king closer to the center of the board. Still this is defendable, because if you play now the best, the next couple of moves, the best moves, white will solve again all of the strategical problems here in the continuation of the game. But here after move c takes b2, bishop to b2, knight to e7 was played by Alexander Petrov, and again Hoffman should have probably played here the move h3 and tried to secure the king, but what he did was a huge mistake. He played now the move knight to g5, and he was hoping for to get this f7 square, but here in the continuation of the game, after knight to d5, we have now knight to f7, and what Hoffman was probably hoping for is that here Alexander Petrov takes king to f7, then he has this one, queen to d5, king to e8, and then after queen to c5, white again has an extra piece, and still both of these kings are of course endangered, but white is much better because of this extra piece. But here after move knight to f7, the problem is now that Petrov didn't take out the knight. He found now a better idea, and maybe you can pause now the video and try to see now the best continuation here for black. It's really a sick tactic that Petrov saw. Okay, what Petrov did here, he sacrificed the queen by kingside castling. Really sick move. It was really one of the best moves that I've seen in my life. Kingside castling, sacrificing the queen. After move knight to d8, what we can see now is that actually black built a mating net around white king. The problem is now this square, after move bishop to f2, the king has only one good square. It's of course the square h3, and what again is white is hoping for is to get the g3 and then king to g2 and then escape with the king, and then probably white will win the game. But you don't have time, because here in the continuation of the game, Petrov will liberate it again the light square diagonal, play the check. There is only one good square, one good protection move, which is of course the move e6, and now again knight to f4. Here we have king to g4, and here again knight to e6, again with ideas to create this covered attack. So you have to play knight to e6. Even if you try here knight to f7, it leads now into a checkmate in 9 moves, which is really wild. Let's see the continuation. After move rook to f7, and again the threat is to create the discovered attack. If you try something like g3 to escape with your king, not a problem. You get this one, knight to d8, discovered check. Here we have king to g5, rook to f5. You have only this square, but now again a new check. You have maybe this one, but here brilliant move, rook to f4. You cannot take the rook because of this bishop's activity, so you would be forced to play maybe something like queen to queen to g4, rook to g4. You have only this one, and here after move rook to g3, again you have only the square h4, again a new check. You have this one, and then after bishop to e3, it would be a beautiful checkmate. So probably I think Petrov saw all of this. I'm not sure, but I'm sure that masters like Petrov, sharp attackers like Petrov, see also deeper calculations. So here after move knight to e6, in the continuation we have bishop to e6, king to g5, rook to f5, a new check. We have now king to g4, h5, again a brilliant check. We have only this square, and here after move rook to f3, we have now a double check, and it's of course a checkmate. Brilliant and beautiful tactic by the Russian master Alexander Petrov. So I really enjoyed the game. I saw it recently. I've never seen it before. I saw it a couple of days ago on a chess website. Really brilliant game, brilliant tactics all over the board. This king hunt was really incredible. As I said, whenever you face maybe a king hunt, consider always this option to decoy your opponent towards your side of the board, towards the center of the board. And when you maybe are challenged by a king hunt, consider always the option to play with your king towards your side of the board. We have seen that maybe with the king to f1 move, here Hoffman could have escaped from this attack. Maybe he should have played this move king to f1. So as I said, these are the most important strategical elements of the king hunt. So as I said, when you face king hunt problems, consider always to escape with your king towards your side of the board. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed the game. I really enjoyed it a lot. If you want to see more brutal attacks like this, check out my commented chess games, the best chess games of all time series, with some other great games that were played in chess history. And if you want to see maybe the top engines playing, check out my commented chess games played by computer series, with some great games played by Stockfish, Lila C0, and many more. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best, of course.